Awesome. So after all the crazy stuff you saw in season 1, was there a conscious decision to try to raise the stakes for season 2, and how did you guys do that?
A little bit. I think second seasons of shows, you have to kind of almost thank the audience for their loyalty and tell them that they're going to get a little bit more than they got last time. What you want to try and do is like stay ahead of your audience almost. You know, you don't want to patronize them doing that, but you want to give them something that they didn't know they were going to get. So what we did this season was just kind of ramp everything up. You know, I mean, it's faster, it's more dangerous, the animals are closer, the animals are bigger, there's more at stake. And I think that's how season 2 has evolved. But it's still wild things, it's still me, it's still travel, it's still people, it's still football, and it's still amazing creatures.
Right. Well, that's what's cool about the title, is it allows you to, like, it started with creepy collies, but really anything that's wild.
Right.
Are you allowed to say what maybe your favorite was in season 2?
Animal or country?
Animal.
Well, man, we do a lot of really fun stuff this year. What's my favorite? The one that sticks in my mind probably the most is we went to Zambia to look for my favorite snake, which is called the gaboon viper, which is this beautiful but very dangerous viper that also has the biggest venomous fangs of any snake in the world and can produce the most amount of venom of any bite of any snake. So has the capability of really, really owning you, and has like I think 3 different complex venoms that, you know, mess around with your body in different ways and can legitimately kill you. But it's stunning. It's called They also call it the butterfly viper. It's so beautiful. So going there and getting an opportunity to work with, you know, really rare snake and spend time with it was great. We also found that we had like a couple of hours spare once we finished working with it, which meant that I could just sit by this tree with this snake for like an hour or 2 and let the sun go down and watch this snake just chilling.
That's cool.
It was, you know, a foot and a half away from me and could have bitten me at any point. It just wasn't interested. So I think that was one of the moments that really sticks in my head from season 2.
Yeah. You mentioned the countries, and they're kind of like almost the star of the episode as well, which I love. Is there a country that you haven't done yet that is sort of on the bucket list if you do another season?
Yeah, there's a lot of different places on the bucket list. I mean, I would really like to go to the Galapagos Islands and kind of trace some of the stories of why Charles Darwin had what was at the time quite radical thoughts about evolution and the origin of species. I'd like to go to the Cook Islands, Easter Island, Christmas Island. There's a Canada show that I have in mind. There's a show in Spain. There's shows in Italy, different places in Africa. I'd like to go to Guam. I'd like to go to Jordan, Israel. You know, I mean, there's a lot of places. We're never going to run out of countries and ideas because we're never going to run out of animals.
So tons of places on the bucket list.
Just keep going.
In the Kenyan episode that I watched, my favorite moment was when you got to patch up the elephant that got wounded. I mean, that's a crazy thing to be a part of, like really hard. Is there any other like impactful moments like that where you got to really kind of help out animals that really stuck in your mind?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes on off camera that we do, where if we see something, we'll work with it and try and help it out. When we were still in Kenya, we saw a monitor lizard that had fallen into a well, and it was just going to die there. I mean, it was just water and no food down there, and it couldn't get out. So we went down and got that out, which was really satisfying, and to watch it, you know, get away and be like, argh. And we're like, oh, we just helped you, and it's like, so that was really fun. And then, you know, we will help animals that you see. You have to be careful with the kind of delicate balance of nature. I mean, if there's something eating something, you can't just come in and go, hey, leave it alone, because that's how nature works, you know. But, you know, seeing the defenseless animals or seeing animals that are in places where you could move them to places where they might feel a little bit safer is something that we would do sometimes. And there's animals that you get a sense of like more kind of worry or concern out of than others. We're in Thailand looking for the slow loris, which is the world's only venomous primate, a very primitive monkey. but it just looks worried the entire time. It's just like, what are you doing? So we were very gentle. I mean, we're always very gentle with animals, but we were very gentle with the animal because it felt like I had a very sensitive disposition, you know.
And that the elephant incident too looked like a pretty close call for the cameraman. Like they showed him almost being trampled. Were there any other moments like that were kind of close calls in that way?
Yeah, there was a couple of close calls. I mean, we all got destroyed by mosquitoes and sandflies and different types of animals. I got almost 40 stitches in my arm from an animal bite at some point in the show, which I can't really tell you about because obviously we're going to use it later. But I mean, I go to hospital and get stitched up a few different ways and spend the rest of the episode with my arm in a bandage. So, definitely got a little too closer than I should, but that's part of the show, I mean, I don't get bitten by animals that can really, really hurt you. I'll push my luck a little bit with animals that could bite and not too much more, and with this animal I got myself into a situation where, it told me to leave it alone, and that's how I did it.
You did. I read that when you were in Laos, I think it was the first season, that they discovered 2 new species while you were filming the show, like a gecko and then a spider that they actually named after you.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what's it like to be part of something that's so cool?
Yeah, that was a pretty profound moment. We worked with arachnologist who had said to me when we were collecting spiders outside the entrance of this cave, he said, if any of these spiders turn out to be a new species, you can name it. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, the chance of that happening is so slim, like, all right, fine, that's great. And then a couple months later, he emailed me and said that spider did turn out to be a new species, and I'm going to stick to that promise. What do you want to name it? Do you want to call it the Dominic spider? And I was like, no. Let's call it the Monaghan spider so that my family will be into it. So there is a Monaghan spider out there, which is cool. And we work with biologists that are right at the edge of cutting edge science. So sometimes they will find animals that they've never seen before, and that's a real thrill for all of us.
It's amazing. Thank you very much.
Thanks.